She looked like just another tired traveler. Alone. Quiet. Holding a simple suitcase. But when airport staff dragged her out without warning, humiliated her in front of everyone, they thought they were dealing with a nobody. What they did not know was who she really was. And who was coming for her. Moments later, a black car pulled up. And out stepped the one man they never expected. Her husband. A billionaire with power, secrets, and a burning rage. What happens next will leave you speechless. Because this story is not just about discrimination. It is about a hidden system built to erase people. And a woman who refused to vanish. Watch till the end. Because the twist? It will change everything you think you know about airports, power. And who is really pulling the strings. She walked through the automatic doors of JFK Airport. Wearing a faded cardigan. Loose jeans. And shoes that looked older than her suitcase. No makeup. No jewelry. Just a soft smile. And a quiet grace that most people missed. The line at the business class counter was short. She joined it. A young man behind her rolled his eyes. The staff at the desk froze for a moment. Then scanned her up and down. From her tousled hair to her worn-out bag. "Ma'am, economy check-in is that way," the woman behind the counter said coldly. She blinked. "I have a first-class ticket." The staff exchanged looks. Mocking smiles danced on their faces. "May I see your confirmation number?" She handed over her phone. The staff member looked at it for half a second. "This is not valid," she said, voice sharp. "Please leave the counter." "But you are holding up our real passengers," the staff snapped. The woman stepped aside. Humiliated. Eyes on the floor. A security guard approached. "Ma'am, we need you to move out of the premium area." People stared. Someone laughed. A little boy pointed and asked his mother. "Why is she crying?" She walked away. To a bench near the window. Silently wiping her tears. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then a sleek black SUV pulled up outside. Tinted windows. Private driver. The door opened. A man stepped out. Tall. Confident. Dressed in a tailored charcoal suit. He moved with purpose. Straight through the doors. Security nodded at him. Everyone did. The woman on the bench looked up. Eyes wide. Relief washed over her face. He walked straight to her. Knelt beside her. "Are you all right?" he asked, voice low and calm. She nodded, barely. But her lips trembled. His eyes turned toward the counter. Sharp. Piercing. Deadly calm. He rose. Took her hand. Walked her back to the same counter. The same staff member looked up. And turned pale. "Can I help you, sir?" she stammered. "Yes," he said. "You can explain why my wife was publicly humiliated. Despite having a first-class ticket. On my airline." Silence. Complete silence. Her fingers began to shake. He leaned forward. "Call your supervisor," he said. "Now." The staff member fumbled for the phone. Passengers gathered. Some started filming. The supervisor arrived within minutes. Sweat already on his brow. "Mr. Hargrave, I did not know." He cut him off. "Do you know what kind of impression it leaves when your team decides someone does not look wealthy enough to fly?" The supervisor glanced at the staff, who was now visibly trembling. "I will handle it personally," he promised. "And please, accept our apology." "My wife does not need your apology." He turned to her. "She needs respect." She looked down again. Whispers filled the terminal. People recognizing him. The CEO of a global tech empire. The man who could shut down this entire terminal if he wanted. The woman who had been ignored, dismissed, humiliated, now stood silently beside the most powerful man in the room. And yet she said nothing. She did not gloat. She did not raise her voice. She simply looked at the woman behind the counter and asked, gently, "Do you see me now?" The staff member nodded, speechless. Ashamed. Mr. Hargrave turned to the supervisor. "From now on, train your staff to see people, not outfits." He turned to his wife. "Come, love. Our jet is waiting." They walked away, hand in hand, leaving a storm behind them. But that was not the end. Because someone had posted the video online. And it was spreading like wildfire. Within hours, the video hit 1 million views. By morning, 10 million. Social media exploded. Kind woman kicked out of airport, then her billionaire husband arrived. Judged by her clothes. Respected for her silence. News anchors debated it. Talk shows dissected every frame. Commentators praised her grace. Criticized the staff's arrogance. The airline's official page was flooded. Thousands demanded accountability. Some threatened to boycott. Others shared their own stories. At the heart of it all, a woman who had never raised her voice, never sought revenge, and never expected the world to notice. She was back home now. In a quiet estate outside San Francisco. Far from the chaos she had unknowingly started. Her husband sat beside her in the garden. A steaming cup of tea in his hand. "They fired the staff member," he said quietly. "And the supervisor." She looked down at her hands. "I did not want that." He nodded. "I know. But change starts somewhere." She paused. Then whispered. "I just wanted someone to believe me. Even for a moment." He took her hand. "I always will." A breeze stirred the trees. Sunlight warmed the flowers. And for a while, there was peace. But then the doorbell rang. A man in a dark suit stood at the gate, holding a leather folder. The housekeeper brought the envelope inside. Stamped with a seal. A high-profile law firm. Inside was a letter. Formal. Carefully worded. And dangerous. The former staff member was suing. Defamation. Emotional damage. Loss of employment due to online mob justice. She stared at the letter. Heart sinking. He took it from her hands. Eyes scanning. Then narrowing. "They want a fight," he said coldly. "They will get one." But she touched his arm. "No." Her voice was soft. But firm. "We are not like them." He looked at her. Conflicted. Silent. "I do not want to destroy anyone," she said. "I just want to be seen. That is all I ever wanted." He nodded slowly. Then stood. "If we are going to respond, we do it our way. Thoughtfully. Decisively. Quietly." Days passed. Then she did something no one expected. She wrote a letter. Public. But graceful. A letter that would become the most shared post of the year. "I forgive them," it read. "But I hope they learn. Because the next woman may not have a powerful husband behind her. And she deserves to be treated with the same dignity as anyone else." The world reacted. Thousands of women shared similar experiences. And slowly, the conversation began to change. Airlines reviewed their policies. Corporate trainings were rewritten. People started looking twice. Not at what someone wore, but at how they were treated. Back at the estate, she sat once more in the garden, watching the roses bloom. She had not shouted. She had not fought. But she had been heard. And that, somehow, was louder than anything else. But peace never lasts long. One rainy night, a call came in. Private number. Her husband answered. The voice on the other end was nervous. Almost trembling. I need to speak to your wife. Who is this? He asked sharply. I am the woman from the airport counter, the voice said. And I think someone is watching me. He stood frozen. Phone pressed to his ear. Rain tapping the windows like soft warning drums. Why would someone be watching you? He asked, voice sharp but calm. The woman on the other end sounded panicked. I do not know. Ever since I was fired, strange things have been happening. Her voice cracked. I get calls. No one speaks. Just silence. Someone followed me to my car 2 nights ago. And last night, my apartment door was slightly open when I got home. He turned to his wife. She was watching him closely, reading every twitch in his expression. He covered the phone and whispered. It is the woman from the airport. She thinks someone is stalking her. Her eyes darkened. Not with anger, but concern. He returned to the call. Where are you right now? In my apartment. Midtown. She hesitated. I should not have called. I did not know who else to trust. You did the right thing, he said. I will send someone to you. Stay inside. Lock everything. He hung up. Dialed a second number. A man answered immediately. Dominic. I need eyes on an address in Midtown. Discreet but fast. Send Mia, she's better with scared people. On it. He ended the call. Turned back to his wife. She is terrified, he said. And I do not think she is lying. His wife stood slowly. Quietly. Do you think it is because of the lawsuit? Maybe, he said. Or maybe someone is making sure she stays quiet. Her eyes narrowed. You mean someone from inside the airline? He nodded. I have seen it before. A scandal this big? Someone always wants to bury it, along with the people involved. Outside, thunder cracked. The rain picked up. And somewhere in Midtown, a woman stared through the blinds, holding her breath in the dark. That night, she got another call. Blocked number. No voice. But this time, breathing. Slow. Steady. Too close. She hung up. Called the number Mr. Hargrave gave her. No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. Then, a knock at the door. 3 slow taps. Her heart stopped. She crept toward the peephole. But it was covered. From the outside. Suddenly. The sound of a lock clicking. From the inside. Her door was unlocking itself. She gasped. Stumbled back. Grabbed her phone. Just before the door creaked open. A figure stepped in. But before the shadow could move, another figure tackled it from behind. Down. Stay down. It was Mia. And behind her, 2 more agents. The intruder struggled, then collapsed. Handcuffed. I told you, the woman sobbed. I told you someone was after me. Mia turned to her. You were right. And now we need to know. What exactly do you know that they are so desperate to hide? The woman trembled. Looked around. Then whispered. It was not just a mistake at the counter. They were targeting people. Silently removing passengers who looked suspicious. Even if they had valid tickets. Removing them where? Mia asked. The woman looked pale. Voice hollow. I do not know. But some never boarded the plane. And never made it home. Back at the estate, Mr. Hargrave's phone lit up again. New intel. Private channel. He read it. Then looked up at his wife. This goes deeper than we thought, he said. They were not just profiling. They were covering something up. She looked into his eyes. afraid to ask the question forming in her heart. But she did. What kind of cover-up? He sighed. And said softly. The kind that gets people killed. A heavy silence fell over the room. Only the rain whispered against the glass. His wife sat down slowly. Her fingers tightening around the edge of the chair. Killed, she repeated. Soft. But the word echoed like thunder. He nodded. Eyes locked on the encrypted message on his phone. There are records. Flight manifests edited after departure. Names removed. Cameras offline for certain hours. Employees reassigned, then vanished. She felt cold inside. The kind of cold that starts in your bones. And the woman at the counter? Was she part of it? He shook his head. No. She was just the kind of person they hired. Trained to judge quickly. To move the wrong people away from the right places. And I was one of those people, she asked. You did not fit the mold, he said. Someone saw your name. Flagged you. But they did not realize who you were married to. A strange chill passed through her. What if I had not called you? He looked at her then. Not as a billionaire. Not as a CEO. But as a man. A husband. Then you would have disappeared, he said quietly. Just like the others. In a government facility across the city. The man who had tried to enter the apartment sat in an interrogation room. Eyes blank. Mouth shut. Mia stepped in. Slammed a folder onto the table. We know who you are. Former security for Skywell Air. But now you are doing jobs for someone else. The man said nothing. She opened the folder. Pulled out grainy photos. Of passengers. Boarding passes. Surveillance cuts. Then, one final photo. A woman. Beautiful. Wearing the same cardigan. Same suitcase. Same tired eyes. She was flagged too, Mia said. Boarded a flight to Denver. But never arrived. The man blinked. Just once. Mia leaned in. Who was running this? Silence. She tapped the photo. Tell me, or you are going to take the fall for all of it. Still nothing. Then her phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Hargrave. He just received a message from inside Skywell. Someone is ready to talk. But only to his wife. She stood outside the tall glass building. Skywell headquarters. New York City skyline behind her. Security buzzed her in. She was expected. Inside, a woman waited. Mid-50s. Tired eyes. But sharp. I saw what happened at the airport, the woman said. I thought, maybe you would understand. She nodded. I am listening. The woman looked around. Lowered her voice. Skywell has a private clearance list. They say it is for national safety. But it is just racism. Discrimination. Control. Her heart pounded. The woman continued. They use the staff to remove people. Quietly. No alarms. No scenes. They never make it to their flights. They are told their tickets are invalid. Escorted out. Some detained. Others just disappear. And no one talks? Most do not know. Those who do are paid. Or threatened. Or worse. She leaned forward. Why now? Why tell me? Because you changed the story, the woman whispered. You made people look. You were not supposed to. They planned to remove you too. The wife's skin went cold. They targeted me? The woman nodded. They thought you were someone else. A journalist. Someone who had already been investigating them. She gasped. I am not. I know, the woman said. But they did not. Back at the estate, her husband was already tracking the source of the flag. And what he found shocked him. Because someone inside his own company had been feeding information to Skywell. About her. About their travels. About everything. A betrayal. Close. Personal. And suddenly, he realized they were not just uncovering a scandal. They were walking straight into a war. The air inside his private office turned still. Like the moment just before an earthquake. He stared at the screen. Eyes fixed on a name glowing in red. A name he trusted. A name that now felt like a knife in his back. Ethan Lang. His chief technology officer. Friend of 10 years. Godfather to his child. And the mole. His breath tightened. He tapped the encrypted log. Ethan had accessed her travel records. Forwarded flagged data to a secure external server. That server had links. To Skywell. To government contractors. And to something darker. He called Mia. Her voice was tight. Urgent. I am already watching him, she said. I had a hunch. He moves too cleanly for a tech guy. Do not move yet, Hargrave said. If he senses we know, he will vanish. Or worse, retaliate. Then he heard the sound he feared most. Glass shattering. From downstairs. He jumped up. Ran toward the stairs. Where is she? He shouted to his house staff. The butler pointed toward the garden. He sprinted outside. Rain had returned. Thin needles falling from the sky. But she was not there. Just her cup of tea. Still warm. Still untouched. He looked around. And saw it. The back gate. Wide open. His heart dropped. He pulled out his phone. Dialed. Voicemail. Again. No answer. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video. He opened it. It was her. In a car. Blindfolded. Hands tied. A voice followed. Deep. Calm. Cruel. You should have left the airport story alone. The screen went black. He stood still. Every muscle in his body frozen. But only for a moment. Then. Fury ignited. Pure. Controlled. Dangerous. He called Mia. They took her. And I know who ordered it. Mia answered fast. We are moving on, Ethan. Now. Meanwhile. In a blacked-out van speeding down the Hudson Parkway. She sat in silence. Blindfold tight. Wrists burning. But her mind. Clear. She remembered her training. Not from any spy agency. But from years of living in shadows beside a man like her husband. She had learned how power really worked. How silence could be a weapon. How patience could save your life. One of the men whispered. She was not supposed to be the one. They flagged the wrong person. Doesn't matter now, said another. She knows too much. Orders are to deliver her to Terminal 9. Then wipe everything clean. She swallowed hard. Terminal 9. Private. Restricted. Not for passengers. It was where the flagged ones went. And never returned. But they had made a mistake. They thought she was helpless. They did not know. She had memorized the rhythm of the turns. Felt the slight tilt of the van at each corner. Heard the chirp of a tunnel sensor. Smelled the salt in the air when they neared the river. She knew exactly where they were going. And more importantly, she knew her husband would come. He always did. At the Skywell security hub. Ethan Lang tried to erase his tracks. Sweat dripped from his forehead. He knew they were coming. But as he typed, the screens around him flickered. One by one. Then a voice played from the speakers. "You betrayed me, Ethan." He spun around. Heart pounding. Mr. Hargrave stepped through the doors. Mia behind him. Armed. Expression cold. Ethan raised his hands. "Listen. I did not know they would take her. This was supposed to be about contracts. Security loopholes. That is all." Hargrave's eyes were steel. "You sold out my wife for a paycheck." Ethan shook his head. "It is not like that. They have connections, government ties. They told me she was a threat." "She is not a threat," Hargrave growled. "She is everything." He stepped forward. Grabbed Ethan by the collar. "Where are they taking her?" "I do not know." "Where?" "I swear." "Terminal 9. Some kind of off-grid holding zone. They take people there, and they disappear." Mia's phone buzzed. Live tracker pinged. She had managed to activate the beacon in her ring. A gift from Hargrave. One she had never taken off. The signal was live. They still had time. But not much. "She is near Pier 74, Mia said. Warehouse District. We move now." Inside the van. She felt the turn. They were close. She could smell engine oil. Jet fuel. Then. The van slowed. Braked. Doors opened. Footsteps. Voices. "Take her through the side entrance." No cameras. She was lifted roughly. Feet dragging. But as they approached the metal door, a sharp crack rang out. Gunshot. Then another. Screams. She dropped to the ground as the men scattered. Blindfold still on. But she heard it. His voice. "Get away from my wife." She tore the blindfold off, gasping for breath. The world was spinning. Dim lights, shouts, footsteps pounding across wet concrete. Her husband stood just meters away. Gun raised. Face carved in stone. Behind him, Mia and her tactical team surged forward. Flashlights cutting through the rain. Weapons drawn. No mercy. One of the masked men lunged toward her. But she was ready. With adrenaline screaming in her veins. She swung her bound wrists upward. Catching him across the face. He staggered. Long enough for Hargrave to fire. The man dropped. She ran. Straight into her husband's arms. Safe. Shaking. "I told you I would come," he whispered, voice low, tight with emotion. She could barely speak. "I knew you would." Mia grabbed her by the shoulders, checking for injuries. "Are you hurt?" "No," she gasped. "Just shaken." "But. I heard them. They were going to send me through Terminal 9. Erase everything." Mia exchanged a look with Hargrave. "We are shutting it all down," he said. "No more secret terminals. No more ghost files. No more vanishing passengers." But just then, one of Mia's agents shouted. "Sir. We found something." They hurried toward a large metal shipping container. Hidden behind barrels. Fresh tire tracks nearby. The agent pulled the door open. What they saw made the blood freeze in their veins. Inside. Passports. Dozens. Hundreds. Suitcases. Phones. Children's toys. Belongings. From people who never made it to their destinations. And further back. A wall of ID photos. Taped up. Crossed out. Marked removed. She stumbled backward, eyes wide. "This is real. All of it. Everything I heard was true." Mia whispered, "This is not just about you. This is a global operation." Hargrave nodded slowly. "We are going to expose every name tied to this. Every executive. Every partner. Every trader. He looked back at his wife. You being flagged. It was not a mistake. It was a window into something massive. Sirens wailed in the distance. Feds inbound. Too late to stop the rescue. But just in time to take over the cleanup. As they stepped into the back of a black SUV, she looked out the window at the warehouse. Still lit. Still echoing with the ghosts of the missing. She turned to her husband. Promise me something, she said. Anything. We will not stop here. His jaw clenched. We will not stop until every last secret is dragged into the light. Because now it was personal. And the world was about to find out. What happens when you try to disappear the wrong woman? But the story was far from over. Because someone was still watching. And they had just activated Plan B. The sun rose over New York the next morning. Warm golden light stretched across the skyline, touching the very edge of the Skywell building. Inside a press conference room, cameras clicked. Reporters jostled for space. All eyes were fixed on the podium. Mr. Hargrave stepped forward. No bodyguards. No shadow games. He faced the world. Beside him, his wife. Calm. Composed. Powerful. I stand before you not just as a business leader, he said. But as a husband. As someone whose wife was almost taken. By a system built on silence and fear. Flashes popped. A hush swept over the room. For years, Skywell and its hidden partners operated unchecked. Detaining innocent people. Erasing identities. All under the illusion of security. It ends now. He gestured to the woman beside him. She is the reason you know the truth. They underestimated her. But she stood firm. And together, we uncovered a machine designed to erase lives. The room erupted in questions. But he held up a hand. There will be time for answers. But today, we remember the names. The faces. The people who were flagged and forgotten. We begin a new era. One built on justice. His wife stepped forward. Her voice clear. Steady. I was labeled a threat because I looked different. Because I spoke with an accent. Because someone assumed I did not belong. But I do belong. We all do. A pause. And then, applause. First polite. Then thunderous. Days later, the flags at Skywell were lowered. Its entire executive board was replaced. Ethan Lang faced federal charges. Terminal 9 was permanently shut down. And in its place, a new department opened. Passenger Rights and Oversight Bureau. Led by someone unexpected. Her. She accepted the position not for power, but for purpose. To make sure no woman, no man, no child would ever be kicked out, erased, or disappeared again. And at home, she and her husband walked through their garden. No more shadows. No more fear. Do you think they are really gone? She asked softly. Hargrave wrapped his arm around her. Not all. But enough to make them run. And next time, we will be ready. The wind moved gently through the trees. Birds sang overhead. And in the distance, a plane took off into a clear, boundless sky. Free. Unwatched. Unflagged. Just as it should be. The end.